Everybody, every institution has passages of time demarcated by particular names rather than years. Christianity had the Holy Roman Empire, the Protestant Reformation. Modern art has Impressionism, Expressionism, pop art. My life is demarcated by the therapists I've seen. There was a BT period before therapy. Now I'm in the AT after therapy period. This period hinges on the sentiment, why kill myself when I'm close enough to dying anyway? Might as well wait it out. And the therapy eras break down by the Dr. Schulman era, the Dr. Weinberg era, Jack, there was Mary, Pam. Recently, my brother sent me the obituary of my second therapist, Dr. Weinberg. Now, my two brothers and their wives are therapists. One brother is an expert in head trauma. His wife is a school psychologist. The other brother is a family therapist, and his wife is a combo psychiatrist acupuncturist. Do you want the pills or the needles and the pills? So Dr. Weinberg dies, and I get an email between me and my brothers about his passing. What is it about when a psychologist dies, there's some kind of passing of the obituary? He sent this on Christmas Eve. Now, I'm Jewish. My wife is Catholic. I don't make a big deal out of Christmas Eve, but still, really? Oh, my brothers are emailing back and forth, joking about the therapist's first name being Carol. I noticed in Dr. Weinberg's obit that he had become an expert in suicidal terrorism and torture. Countering their lame attempt at humor, I suggested after treating me, he decided to study torture. It's more rewarding. My brothers didn't go to therapy until, of course, they were required to go to therapy, earning their PhDs. I was the youngest, and I was taken to therapy. The Dr. Schulman era began when I was in 5th grade. One day my mother said, "We're going to a doctor, a new doctor." When we pulled into this doctor's driveway, I learned this doctor, air quotes, had his office in his house. I'm brought in to see a man, and he seats me at the side of his desk. No table to dangle my legs, no white lab coat, stethoscope. There were several visits. I remember blocks and some drawing, ink blots. Before my brothers, the pioneering therapist in our family was my uncle, who had become a psychiatrist in the swinging 60s. I remember our family visiting him at his bachelor pad in Baltimore. The Rolling Stones Through the Past Darkly playing, the hexagonal sleeve as vivid as any album cover in memory. His pad was decorated with lava lamps, Peter Max posters, and ink blots. So as patient, I knew the ink blots were the cotton balls and tongue depressors of Dr. Air quotes. Next up was the Dr. Weinberg era. I don't remember why I went from Dr. Schulman to Dr. Weinberg. Maybe it was time for a new shrink with a Jewish name. Dr. Weinberg had a tendency to, let's say he closed his eyes when I talked. I would notice it, but I kept talking. His head didn't fall completely forward or backward. He sat there with the fingertips of each hand touching each other, elbows on the armrests of his chairs, his eyelids sealed. I wondered if he's just doing the slowest blinking imaginable. But after some time, I would cough or something, and then his eyes would open, and he'd say, "Oh, go on, go on." And so it went, the drug counselor Jack era, Upper West Side Mary Ellen. Why was I going to so many therapists? I think it all goes back to the conclusion of the Dr. Schulman era. One evening I went to Dr. Schulman with both parents. It had always been with my mother during the day, and this was a special visit. I didn't spend much time with him, and the three of us came home. My parents bring my brothers, my soon-to-be therapist brothers, into the den, and we sit down, and my father announces, "We took Lee to a doctor. There's nothing wrong with him." So there you go. And ever since then, I've been trying to figure out what is wrong with me. Flash, Rosenberg, right?